Alrighty, guys, we are back. Experienced a lot of technical difficulties, and we are getting the show rocking and rolling now. So, kind of excited to see where this will go. Know that the thumbnail's still screwed up. It's like an NBA thumbnail. But I wanted to talk about either college football, basketball, really anything. I'm excited about the Giants season. Really, when we look at the NFL, it's really exciting. I don't think the Dolphins are that exciting. I know a lot of people are kind of getting behind them a little bit. But the Bills, could Josh Allen take that next leap? Hard Knocks coming up in like 2 weeks, so I'm kind of excited for that. I just need there to be football. I mean, I'm kind of getting depressed now this time of year. I need there to be something to get me going a little bit, and I just need it. I need it badly. So I want there to be football really badly. I'm pretty depressed that there's no football, to be honest with y'all. And yeah, I'm going to try to sign in, read y'all's comments. I'm going to get my Skype back up and rolling, and hopefully that echo thing isn't annoying. So we got 6 people in the show. Steven, thank you for staying with me, and thank you for staying put. MH, thank you so much. I appreciate you popping into the show. That means a whole lot to me that you're here. It really does, Jeff. And first of all, the CFL doesn't appeal to me. First of all, the CFL, like who is really making the NFL out of the CFL? Third of all, it's 100 yards or it's like 150 yards. There's no real gambling on CFL. The announcers, I don't know. I don't know any of the players. If Johnny Manziel was still in the CFL, I would have watched it. But the CFL doesn't appeal to me at all. Maybe the XFL can appeal to me. But the CFL is Canadian football. I don't know the rules about it whatsoever. I don't. So the fact that we have CFL football, it's just, it's weird. I'm sorry. I'm Canadian hockey is freaking awesome. You guys are the best at that with Sidney Crosby and Wayne Gretzky and Eric Lindros. Like, Canada's great for hockey, but for football, CFL is not fun at all. Now, I'll watch like the Elite 11, like high school football in the summer, 7-on-7. If there's a good tournament, I might watch that, but I'm not really into the CFL. Yeah, Chris, thanks, man. The green screen and just the entire computer outlet is good. I'm going to get my Skype back up here, and hopefully it doesn't echo. Yeah, I mean, I've loved what the other YouTubers have been doing with the football season. I might tailor some videos towards some things. And I'm really excited, too, about a preseason. I'm excited about Daniel Jones, Drew Lock. Can Dwayne Haskins win the job? I think Dwayne Haskins should automatically win the job if you're the Washington Redskins. Why would you want to put Case Keenum out there? It makes no sense at all. Dwayne Haskins is good enough to play. And it's not like you have healthy quarterbacks. And Alex Smith, you should just use him for trade bait. And the Washington Redskins should fire Jay Gruden right now and put the coach Kevin O'Connell, the offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. He can be another young, good coach. Like, he can be a Matt LaFleur. He can be a Kingsbury. He can be a Sean McVay. You got to give him an opportunity to be a head coach because we know what Jay Gruden is. Jay Gruden's had 5 years to play in Washington and be the head man, and he hasn't won anything. So as Giants fans, we should hope that Jay Gruden stays put there. Okay, we should hope that happens. Anyway, I'm going to get the phones going back up here on Rover, and we'll take some calls. We actually have a caller right now. So it's going to be good. Okay, it's going to be good. Hold on one second. Continue to try to call in, please, if you can. Just setting up the Skype. Setting up the Skype. Okay. I got it. Yo there, welcome into Rover Sports. How are you? Sure. Wait. Hold on one second. I want to make sure that the people in the audience can hear you and that the call's going through. So, all right. Yes. Go ahead and talk to me now. Thank you. I would. Interesting. So you're asking would I rather have Josh Allen and who did you say again? Actually, Josh Allen and Drew Lock, or would I rather have Daniel Jones and Dexter Lawrence? I guess is that what you're asking?
Our second round pick, yeah. Uh, from Georgia.
Oh yeah, what's his name? Baker. Baker, right? Okay, so I would go with I don't know. I still feel like Daniel Jones can be better than Drew Lock. Like Drew Lock, I know that I've said that he has better arm talent than Daniel Jones. He had a better college career than Jones. I really like Baker. That's a very good question. If I was the GM, I'd actually rather have Josh Allen and Drew Lock because I like Drew Lock. So I would actually take that. Who would you take? Who would you take in that scenario? Who would you take in that scenario?
I grew to like Daniel Jones, but at the time I probably would have rather the Josh Allen and Drew Lock. But I have nothing wrong with the Jones and Baker picks because we addressed two things we needed, I think.
Yeah, like I'll tell you, I do like I do like I like Daniel Jones. And I like the route we went. I don't think you could have went wrong. Now Daniel Jones might not have been there at the he might not have been there at 17. So it's all kind of hindsight. I think Josh Allen is going to be an awesome player though. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I didn't love the Dexter Lawrence pick, but what are you going to do?
I think Dexter will come in there and he can at least stop the run. I still think he's going to be a solid pro for us. I do. Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling the show. All right. So I gotta get the Skype and the audio under control. I understand that. The guy was a really good caller, and he made some good points, and he was very concise with his remarks, which is a pretty cool job of a caller to do that. So trying to understand the Skype game and what we want from the Skype game. I'll put it on default and see. Welcome into Rover Sports. Hello, can you hear me? Is it Senor? Is it Senor? All right, I'm trying to get you on here, so go ahead and talk, my friend. Talk.
Chris was doing a film review about Daniel Jones. It was against one thing I noticed is Dexter Lawrence. He's really dominating in that against the O line. I mean, He's not trying to go after the quarterback. Sure. Defensive line for the Giants.
Yeah, I really like I really like Dexter Lawrence as well, and I actually don't think the Giants messed up so bad. Do you think the Giants in their draft were really poor, Chris?
Quarterback in the whole entire draft, in my opinion, 2019 NFL draft. I like that pick at 6, but I think it was kind of a reach. Josh Allen, we don't know how he's going to do in Jacksonville. I mean, he might become a bust. He might become really good. I mean, who knows? But I wouldn't agree with the pick at 6. But I think the rest, I think they redeemed themselves in the first round with the Dexter Lawrence and the DeAndre Baker picks. I really like those picks for the Giants. They were kind of mixing it up with an offense in the beginning of the round, and they're just starting to up the defense in the secondary and up front in the trenches. So would I give them a really bad grading? No, I would probably give them like a C+ to a B- or a B. They didn't do that bad in my opinion. There's other worse drafts like we had in the 1998 draft. Drafting Leaf and there's a lot of other drafts that
Hey Chris, let's dive into this. You bring up a really interesting point, okay? Even my sister, okay? My sister's probably your age. Are you like 16 years old, by the way?
No, 13.
Yeah, you're even younger than that. Okay.
Yeah.
If I wanted to have Senor, if you wanted to date my sister, you're a nice enough kid to do it. Honestly.
No,
you can honestly date my sister. I'd be comfortable having you in the family. Then my sister's name would be. Well, I don't know if I should say her first name on here, but her last name would be Senor, which would be Beast. But that's going off in a tangent. The point is, my sister didn't know anything about football. Okay, she just follows Instagram.
Yeah.
She knows a little bit about the sport of football, and she even was saying how Daniel Jones sucks. Even kids that because that somehow was permeated throughout the media. And I think that it was the Giants fans were kind of like obsessed with the Dwayne Haskins kid from Ohio State, that he wanted to play for the Giants, that he threw for 50 touchdowns. And if the Giants would have taken Dwayne Haskins at 6 over Josh Allen, nobody would have had – I don't think people would have had a problem. I think the Giants would have been so pumped up for the season if it was Dwayne Haskins, because he just marketed himself to this Giants community, and the fact that it was Daniel Jones was such a letdown at the quarterback position. But the point is, it's so hard to pick a quarterback. It's so hard to pick the right guy. Blaine Gabbert was selected, Jake Locker. The quarterback, Ryan Leaf. There's busts all the times. It's really hard to pick good quarterbacks. So, even if Daniel Jones was the third best guy, he didn't play with great guys at Duke. He was a late bloomer. He didn't get recruited out of high school that well. He doesn't have a ton of talent around him. He's one of the most cerebral players in the class. He's 6'5". His arm strength is adequate, and he's smart. So. Drew Lock and these other guys and Haskins have bigger arms, but it's not like Daniel Jones is automatically going to fail.
I mean, the media really influences a lot of the NFL now. They're posting the top 10 quarterbacks, with posting top 10 lists about every position, everything. They really influence the whole entire kind of fan base, and even sometimes, especially in the New York Giants, media in a big market like New York. it can influence GMs, owners, and management, or in the Giants, and of course the Jets too. It could really kind of shift momentum in choosing a quarterback, a running back, or whatever position you want. And I think that's something that you have to really give respect to Dave Gettleman on. That he doesn't care what the media thinks about his pick. He doesn't care. He's he's on his own. It's his team. He's gonna do what he thinks is gonna be best for the Giants and the players and the culture in the locker room. So I think what the Giants are, they're heading in the right direction. Maybe getting like a couple more kind of like small pieces. Like, I mean, if you're looking at the big picture, there's a couple more pieces that you have to pick up. Maybe another defensive lineman, maybe a linebacker too.
Yes,
but,
like maybe a Clowney if Clowney could be healthy or something. Like that, like maybe a good wide receiver. But we're very close, offensive line wise. And Dave Gettleman, like you said, he doesn't care what people think. And we're building this thing. We're not like a free agent team. The Giants are building this thing from the ground up. We're building with rookies, and we're building it like organically instead of just paying Olivier Vernon and Janoris Jenkins. So it's such a great time to be a Giants fan. And Jerry Reese and the Giants were just so abysmal a couple of years ago. It was all smoke and mirrors, with Odell, with Ingram, with like who else was on that team? Brandon Marshall. You remember how hyped up the Giants were?
Brandon,
and it was all just fake hype. It was all just BS. No substance. I mean,
that's what I see about Philadelphia. I want to get a lot of heat from Philadelphia fans right now, but I think that's what's going to happen to the Eagles. I'm going to call it the 2006 or 2016 Giants effect. It's where you have a stacked team. Defense wise, it's stacked. You have a good offense, explosive offense. Then you're paying all these players this much money and stuff like that. You have the Landon Collins, you have the OBJs in the locker room, you have all these types of people, different types of people from different backgrounds and stuff like that. And you start paying them this much money and stuff like that, and it's all gonna come crashing down because at some point you're gonna lose players, and I think that's the Philadelphia isn't prepared for that because they don't have cap space. If you look at it, they have like $5 million in cap space left. And next year, I think that's when a lot of contracts are up, and they're pretty much they're losing money. They're losing money on dead players. Deshaun Jackson, he's like 33 years old, and they're still paying him big dollars.
For the Eagles.
There's no point in the Eagles. Yeah, there's no point in doing this thing. And Carson Wentz, you could say, he deserves the big money if he's gonna play well, but I don't think giving him that much money would help too, because at the end of the day, if Carson Wentz does not perform to what people think he is going to be, if he doesn't play the 16 games like he did in his rookie season, then there's no point in paying that much money for Carson Wentz, a player that hasn't proven himself in the playoffs and in the regular season. He just gets injured all the time, so there's no point in paying.
Well, I'm not sure. Like, I think that it was a really good. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna try to do this. Actually, it puts the call on hold. So hold on 1 second. Can you hear me? Ah, shoot.
Yo.
I might have just lost somebody on there.
I can
Hello?
hear you. Hey.
Pigskin, how you doing, man? I accidentally cut off Chris Senior. Like, I wanted to just say like a couple remaining words to him, but it's great to have you on the show, man. Welcome in.
Yeah, man. I'm digging the new setup you got there with the green screen and everything. Looks good.
Yeah, so like if you get a green screen, you could do it with OBS. You just need to like handle the Chrome key, but I don't know how much green screens are, but are you thinking of getting one yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna get one for the football season, I think, and I'll call you whenever I'm ready to do that. Get the skinny on that. But I missed the first part of the show, but I think I did hear you say that you thought that PJ Fleck was a top 5 coach in the country. Did I hear that right?
Yes, correct.
Hello?
Can you hear? I thought you hung up on me.
No.
You're just stunned? Go ahead.
No, did you say that?
I did, yes.
Are you feeling okay?
I am. I'm all good. My equilibrium is fine. I'm not like screwed up or anything. PJ Fleck went 13-0 at Western Michigan. He was the youngest coach in the country. He went 1-13 at Western Michigan. He has the best culture in the country of the row the boat elite culture. He has the second youngest team in America, and he beat Wisconsin for the first time in 14 years last year. So you could talk about Chris Peterson and all these other guys, but PJ Fleck is going to have a very balanced attack. He's going to have one of the lowest turnover teams other than Dabo, Nick Saban, and I'm telling you, PJ Fleck's in the top 5.
All right. Well, I'm not doubting that he's a good coach. I'll give you that much. But a top 5 coach, I mean, I don't know what you're basing that on. I mean, first of all, he's at Minnesota, so you've got to have the horses to run the race, and he's not going to be able to recruit the players that he needs to really compete with the team. Maybe you might be able to compete some with the teams in the West, but not in the East of the Big Ten. You're projecting that PJ Fleck sometime within the next year or two will make the college football playoff. Is that what you said?
Yes, and I like it because like it is a hot take to say that he's top 5. You know, that's like kind of a headline grab. You know, if I said the top 5 was Kirby, Chris Peterson, Dabo, and Lincoln Riley, it wouldn't be interesting at all. But I think PJ has such a high upside because he's at Minnesota, and his recruiting classes are actually top 25. So when you look at the Big Ten, you have Michigan, and who knows how this new offensive coordinator is going to get along with Jim Harbaugh. Who knows if Shea Patterson, their defense is not going to be as good as last season. Nebraska and Scott Frost, I'm very scared about. Like Scott Frost might even be in my top 5 as well, because Martinez, I don't know how high you think of Adrian Martinez, but I think Martinez can win the Heisman this year. He's that freaking good. So I think it's Nebraska and Minnesota in the Big Ten. I mean, do you see Ryan Day like being any good? I don't know. What do you think about the Big Ten?
I'd say in the Big Ten West, I'd say Northwestern's ahead of Minnesota still. I'd say Iowa's ahead of Minnesota still. Obviously, Nebraska I think is going to be better. I'd say in the next couple of years, Nebraska probably will be the preemptive favorite to win the Big Ten West every year. I still think that Wisconsin's ahead of Minnesota, even though they beat them last year. That doesn't mean that they're ahead of them as a program. Wisconsin was very underwhelming last year. So you're talking about, you know, outside of the ACC Coastal, which many think is one of the weakest divisions in college football, which I agree. I'd say the Big Ten West is right there as one of the weakest too, and I still think Minnesota is the 4th or 5th best team in that weak conference. So, and PJ Fleck might overachieve at Minnesota and maybe get a better job somewhere else. But as far as Minnesota making a college football playoff, that's not happening.
Is it not you don't see any Big Ten championships, correct, in the next 5 years for Minnesota?
No, and mainly because they may win the division a couple of times if they overachieve, but I don't see them getting through either Michigan, Ohio State, or even Penn State as far as the championship game goes. So I don't think he'll win a Big Ten championship now.
Okay, I want to get this on record, because when they win a championship like the Big Ten champion, I want to get this call on record. I think that the road to this year, my expectations for Minnesota are maybe like 10-2. And I hope that they beat out Nebraska. Like, I think Nebraska or Minnesota can win the conference this year. I guess like Penn State with James Franklin, I think that's going to fall apart because Franklin just has too high of expectations. That's the thing about Penn State.
Well, Penn State's biggest problem is that they play in the East against Michigan and Ohio State. But they're still a better program than Minnesota. I mean, if you line up Minnesota and Penn State on the same field 10 times, Penn State's winning 8 or 9 of those.
Right, but Penn State has had a significant advantage because of its history and everything. So that's right. Why I look at Fleck. But I think Fleck at Minnesota is building with their top 25 classes. Like, I think he's an excellent recruiter. You're going to be surprised about Minnesota. They're going to get to double-digit wins in the next 2 years. Would that surprise you a lot?
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Well, I think the Big Ten West, though. I mean, you said the Big Ten West is one of the worst divisions. I look at the Big 12 as not being that good. The Pac-12 definitely not very good.
Well, yeah, the Pac-12 South is a mess right now, for sure. I mean, you have Oregon and Washington in the North, who are, they're above average teams. And I think my dark horse to make the playoffs this year is Oregon, because I think they have the best team in the Pac-12 and their schedule is favorable. And they have definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and Justin Herbert. A lot of really good skill players, probably the best offensive line in the Pac-12. So I think Oregon's going to be a team to be reckoned with this year. Now, after Herbert leaves, I don't know. I think they do have another.
Herbert, though, he hasn't balled out that good. I mean, Pigskin, they were up by 21 points to Stanford last year, and they lost that game with Justin Herbert. Like Herbert's never put up the numbers that you would expect, though.
Right. But do you think he's going to be one of the top players taken in the draft? I do.
Yeah. Yes, but that doesn't mean that his production is like a Heisman level production.
And Herbert's entire career at Oregon so far has been a roller coaster of different coaches coming in. So he has a little bit of stability now with Cristobal going into his second full year. They've been recruiting well, and again, they have a lot of veteran players coming back, mainly on the offense. Now, I know they just recruited the number one recruit in the country for 2020, or maybe that was this year, 2019, the defensive end that went to Oregon too. So they're loading up on defense too. I think this is Oregon's year to really take advantage of their skill and their recruiting and their schedule. Now, after Herbert leaves, I don't know, but I think Herbert this year is going to shock a lot of people. I think he'll be going to New York when it's all said and done.
The New York Giants?
No, to New York as far as the Heisman ceremony.
Oh. If the Giants selected Herbert again, man, that would just be awful. That would rock our world, That means Daniel Jones.
No, the Giants aren't going to. No, Giants are going to take. The Giants won't take Herbert because they just took Daniel Jones. But I'm talking about the Heisman in New York.
Right. I was ragging on your Carolina Panthers. I don't know if you saw that video or not.
Yeah, I did. I expected that, and I couldn't disagree more. I mean, I think they're going to be good this year, as long as Cam's healthy.
We got to do a bet that the Giants have a better record than the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, I'll bet you all that all day.
All right, so let's do our top 5. Since I got you here, Pigskin Pete. Everybody go to Pigskin Pete's channel, Peete, and subscribe and follow him. He has call-in shows. He makes great video content. And one of my good friends on YouTube, he's tremendous. Let's think of the guys that are going to be at the Heisman. Who's going to be in New York and who's going to win the Heisman? Let's come up with 5 names. You could go first.
I think Tua will definitely be in there. I think Trevor Lawrence obviously will be in there. I actually believe Jerry Jeudy from Alabama will also be in there. That's 3. I think Justin Herbert, that's 4. The 5th one, it's easy to go quarterback, right? And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say that Jalen Hurts will be there. I don't think he'll win it, but I think just the fact that he's at Oklahoma and that offense is going to be really good, and the defenses in the Big 12 for the most part are terrible. He's going to put up big numbers, and that's what the Heisman's all about. It's all about numbers. It's going to be the Jalen Hurts show. He might have 1,000 yards rushing on top of whatever he does passing. So that's my 5.
I'm going to rebuttal that statement. I think Jalen Hurts cannot throw the football at all. He's going to be stacked up against Oklahoma's better. He's going to be stacked up against Oklahoma's better quarterbacks with Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. I think Jalen Hurts is going to disappoint massively. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's just a runner playing the quarterback position. So Lincoln Riley's going to put him in situations to be successful. But I don't see Hurts doing well. The guy that I see doing really well is actually, ironically, at Oklahoma State, Spencer Sanders from Denton. He's a freshman. He is going to shock everybody because Oklahoma State has Princeton's offensive coordinator. So I'm going to say Spencer Sanders. I'm going to say the guy that Adrian Martinez at Nebraska. Now, gosh, I mean, you said Tua Tagovailoa, yes. Do you think that Burrow can go in from LSU, or there's no chance he gets it?
No,
what do you think?
No way. No way.
You know that they hired the Saints offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah. But I mean, they could hire Bill Belichick and Lincoln Riley together on the same team, and he still wouldn't make it to New York.
Do you think that kid at Miami's going to start, Tate Martell, or do you think Justin Fields will be any good, or Jake Eason? Like, what do you think of those names?
Yeah, I think Eason's going to do really well. And as far as Tate Martell goes, I think it's Perry's job to lose because he's been in that system longer. He's been with the team longer. He had some discipline problems. I know he got in trouble a couple times last year off the field. But I don't know. I think it's going to come down to, I think Perry will start the season. But if Miami, gets blown out by Florida and then maybe loses another game early in the season to another, mediocre team in the ACC Coastal, then Tate Martell will come in. I don't know. I asked Miami fans what they think, and they don't know. So, it's really nobody seems to know what's going to happen with the quarterback situation.
Well, that
there.
Perry's not a great thrower, but I think Martell is actually I think he's an interesting thrower. I look at Enos. I'm kind of excited for Manny Diaz. He's been so outspoken. So as a Clemson fan, do you think that Manny Diaz is kind of acting like a punk a little bit right now? You think he has his chest out too much, or what do you think?
No,
about
I
that dude?
like Manny Diaz. I think he's a good fit there. I think he's going to be a good coach there. He recruits well. Listen, you can say what you want to about the guy, but the guys on that team, they would walk in front of a train for that guy. So he's one of those coaches that I think is going to be good. But the problem with Miami is the same problem with a lot of the teams in the ACC right now is they don't have the horses to compete with Clemson. But that might change here in another couple years, but not this year.
Yeah, Virginia Tech needs to get back off the mat and compete with Clemson. Virginia Tech's the one program that can compete. And Georgia Tech, by the way, also, I think Georgia Tech plays y'all first game. I think Jeff Collins is going to do a hell of a job there too. Yeah, but he's got to get players in there that are not recruited to run the triple option. So it's going to take them at least 3 years to get back on track. They might be lucky to make a bowl game this year, but I have them winning somewhere around 5 or 6 games. I wouldn't see any more than 6. Who's the kid, last thing, who's the kid that was the wide receiver at Clemson? Is his name Ross? Or who's the amazing kid
Justin
in that
Ross.
national championship game? Freshman.
Yeah, that was Justin Ross. And we have T. Higgins, too, he's just as good of a receiver as Ross. But, Ross is the one that showed out in the playoffs last year.
So is Higgins more of a speedster in the slot?
No, they're both outside receivers. And now Higgins' line is up anywhere. But they're both outside guys.
Do you think that Kelly Bryant is tighter with Dabo Swinney? Because no one had the balls to ask him at SEC Media Days if he loves Dabo. But he shouldn't have hard feelings because starting Trevor Lawrence, that's not an indictment on Kelly Bryant that much. And they won the I think Kelly Bryant should still respect Dabo Swinney, even though he's a competitor.
Yeah, I think that when the whole thing went down last year after the 4 games, he was the first player to ever, transfer after the 4-game rule. That was a new rule. And I think he let his emotions get the best of him, and he made the statement that he felt like he was jaded a little bit, wasn't given a fair shot. But since then, he sort of, walked those statements back a little bit. I don't think he had – listen, Dabo Swinney could have not told him that he was benching him and made him think he was still going to be the starter, and his college career would have been done. So Dabo Swinney did him a huge favor and let him transfer after the 4 games without a problem. So I don't think Kelly Bryant has a problem. I think he's probably grateful that he was given that opportunity.
Hey Pete, thanks so much for the call, my friend. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the banter. I have to come on and defend Fleck on your show.
All right, $100. Giants or Panthers have a better record than Giants.
I'll do that with you soon. Thanks, Pete. What's going on? Welcome on to Rover Sports, the show.
Oh, yeah, good morning and that, but this is Uncle Lou here, though.
Hey, Lou, how are you?
Oh, my God. I was doing good until I flipped your show on, sir. You had me pacing back and forth, and I wore myself out, and I had to sit back down. But listen, when Uncle Lou has a question about the NFL football, who do I call?
You could call me.
Okay. Before you start talking college football again, I'm going to need you to do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need you to call me. Sir, Minnesota in the playoffs in 4 years? Minnesota's the land of 1,000 lakes. Have you jumped in one? Minnesota is not making the college football playoffs, sir. What's gotten into you? I don't understand. Explain it to me.
I'll explain to you, Uncle Lou, about the Minnesota Golden Gophers because they are the ultimate sleeper team.
You can put Nick Saban. You can put Nick Saban.
Backs like Rodney Smith, Muhammad Ibrahim.
No, sir.
They're going to control the football.
They do not have 4 amazing anything, sir. They're amazing for Minnesota. You have to tell these people the truth. They're not recruiting in the top 25. I don't know where you're getting that from. They were 45th in recruiting in 2019. They signed 0 4-stars, 0 5-stars. All 3-stars. They're not recruiting in the top 25. You could put Nick Saban at Minnesota. They wouldn't win a national title in the next 4 years, sir. I mean, it's just that's not happening.
Where's Rashad Bateman? Where was Rashad Bateman? He's from the state of Georgia. He's a 4-star player in 2018. He's one of the best receivers in the country.
Okay, what does that have to do with 2019? The 45th is not top 25. 45th is way outside of the top. If you're not winning national titles with the 45th ranked recruiting class, sir, Minnesota's not winning a national title. Stop telling these people that.
Well,
you done got me fired up. Now you done got me irritated. Listen, PJ Fleck is a good coach. He's a really good. You know who else is a good coach? Matt Campbell. Is Iowa State winning a natty anytime soon? No.
Well, I still think Iowa State.
Is Syracuse winning a natty? Is Syracuse winning a natty? No.
But Iowa State.
Dino Babers was a great coach.
Championship. Minnesota,
Who?
I mean, Western Michigan was competing like Central Florida was a couple years ago.
Who?
Of Western Michigan with P.J. Fleck. P.J. Fleck's only in his 3rd year there. In years 3 and 4, that's when you take the leap. You know, look at your team. The Georgia Bulldogs had 7 wins, and then you went on and won 13 games. The Big Ten is weak.
Sir, what was Tom Herman's record at Houston?
He was 13-0.
Okay, is he winning a natty this year? No.
No.
So P.J. Fleck's not winning a natty at Minnesota. Stop it.
Well, how about a college football playoff appearance for Minnesota in the next 3 years?
Sir, Ohio State can't get into the college football playoff at 13-1. How is Minnesota going to get in at 9-4?
Minnesota is going to beat Nebraska. They're going to beat Wisconsin. Their schedule's really easy. They play in the West, so their schedule's easier. You look at P.J. Fleck. He is an exceptional coach. He's going to make Minnesota into the next Clemson Tigers.
Oh, my God. Spence, stop it. I'm calling your dad. This is insane.
You better watch Minnesota because P.J. Fleck, I want you to remember this call, though. That's why it's an interesting take because nobody's expecting Minnesota to do anything worthwhile.
I'm calling Bruce and having him take your internet away. As far as the Heisman goes,
Lou? What are they going to do in the next 5 years?
Nebraska's winning the West this year.
Are they going to make a playoff soon?
That's hard to say. They got to get a whole lot better on defense, but they'll win the West this year. And depending on what happens with Ohio State and Michigan, they have a chance to win the Big Ten. But if they do, it'll be with 3 losses. They're not getting into playoffs.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lou, so who is a sleeper team? Who could compete with Alabama in the West? Do you think Auburn? Like Auburn's D line's good. Is Bo Nix or Gatewood going to be able to get Auburn back because Gus is now calling plays again, or is LSU going to be able to beat Bama? I mean, is the SEC going to be competitive with Auburn and LSU?
LSU lost at home to Alabama 29-0. They played the best defensive game you can possibly play against Alabama and held them to 29 points, and the offense was just non-existent. Now, I do think LSU will have a better offense this year, but they can't make up a 29-point gap on the road at Tuscaloosa, so they can hang that up. I do think they're the second-best team in the West, though. If Alabama loses a game, we'll be on the road at Texas A&M. But Texas A&M's not winning the West. Their schedule is too hard. Alabama's winning the West. They might not go 12-0, but they're winning the West.
How about Auburn?
No, by the time Auburn plays Georgia and Alabama at the end of the year, they're going to be in the middle of a coaching search.
Wow, Gus is going to get fired, you're saying. Should they start Bo Nix, though? I don't know. I talked to a lot of Auburn fans. I get the feeling they want Bo Nix to start.
So, but I don't know what that means. I mean, I think both those quarterbacks have a lot of potential. I think both of them could be really, really good, but it might end up being too late for Gus Malzahn, because I have a feeling they're going to lose to LSU and Texas A&M and probably one other team before they ever even get around to playing Georgia and Alabama at the end of the year. And I don't think it's going to work out well for Gus Malzahn. He's like a cat, but he's used up all 9 of his lives.
Really good this year.
Yeah, well, they'll be good on defense for sure. They got a lot of work to do on the offensive line. They had one of the worst offensive lines in the SEC last year. I mean, they're 1 year removed from losing to Tennessee. You have any idea how embarrassing that is?
Yeah. Pruitt's first game, Garrett Tonmo lit them up, but Auburn last year was just a mess with Chip Lindsey. I think that was so distracting having that guy there, and they were just flat out so distracted with Stidham, and even in that Georgia game in the second half, they didn't bring it. So, I think that now with Chip gone, they're going to be better.
But now for the Heisman though, they might as well just invite two. I mean, it's Trevor or Tua, whoever has the better numbers. That's who's winning it. Y'all were talking about a top 5 earlier. They don't even always invite 5. They might as well only invite those 2. The only reason they should invite 3 this year is if for some reason Jonathan Taylor goes over 6,000 yards career this year. They should invite Jonathan Taylor, but he won't win it. He'd have to have 2,500 yards, I think, to even have a chance to win it. He's had 2,000 each of his first 2 years. If he goes over 6,000 in his third year, he should be invited. But he won't win it. It's Trevor or Tua, whoever has the best numbers, though.
I think that Swift has a chance to honestly go over I think he could go over 3,000. DeAndre Swift, maybe.
Oh yeah, if Swift played for Auburn, he'd have 3,500 yards and 25 carries a game and 15 catches. But we're not Auburn. We don't run people into the ground. We spread them out so that in November they can still get out of the bed. Unlike Carrie Ann Johnson and Kim Petaway and the rest of these running backs that Auburn has at 25 carries a game in September and October, and then November comes around and they can't walk. We don't do that. Our running backs get 10 or 11 carries a game. I mean, look the numbers up ever since we going all the way back to 2012. Todd Gurley. Nick Chubb's first year when Todd Gurley got hurt or suspended, they were giving Nick Chubb about 25 carries a game. That was back in 2013, I guess that was. Anyway.
Well, this new offensive coordinator, you think he'll be more aggressive than Jim Chaney, or just still pretty similar because he was on the staff there?
I hope he'll be more aggressive, and that's kind of the word on the street, that he's going to throw the ball a little bit more. I mean, I just don't think you can. I'm not saying Jake Fromm can't win a national title, but I am saying that a pocket passer can't win the national title with 2,800 yards passing and negative 30 yards rushing. I mean, that's just not happening. It's not 1985. It's not even 2005. If you can't throw for over 3,000 yards and you're rushing for negative 30, chances of you winning a Heisman are slim to slimmer. I mean, a natty.
And everybody has Jake Fromm being a first-round talent. I think he's definitely coming back for his senior year. He's going to be like a 5th or 6th round pick probably. As much as I like Jake Fromm's a great kid and everything, but he doesn't have the arm strength to throw that out pattern. He's kind of like Luke Falk a little bit at Washington State.
Well, 2 points about that. First, I could give 2 country hoots or a holler how any Georgia player ever does in the NFL, outside of the fact that, I wish them all the best in terms of making a lot of money and stuff like that, but it has no effect on what they do in college. I guarantee you Florida Gators fans don't care that Tim Tebow can't complete a pass in the NFL. Doesn't matter. But as far as Jake Fromm goes, I don't get it either. I see these draft boards have Jake Fromm going in top 5. Some have him going first overall over Tua. I don't understand it either. He's too short. Oh, but Drew Brees, exceptions to the rule prove the rule, not the other way around. There's a reason Drew Brees and Russell Wilson are 2 of the only short quarterbacks in the NFL. It's because you have to be able to see over linemen. It's not the norm. And arm strength, you mentioned that too. I mean, Aaron Murray, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the SEC, he can't make it in the NFL either. Same reason, not tall enough and not enough arm strength. Can't make a 25-yard out throw without it getting intercepted underneath. And but that's nothing against Jake Fromm's ability at Georgia. Like he's a good quarterback at Georgia. He's got to play better in big spots, I think. It's certain. But you say that about any player. I'm not knocking Jake Fromm. I think we can win it all with Jake Fromm, but not with 2,800 yards passing and negative 30 yards rushing. That's never going to happen.
Well,
not in today's college football.
That tight end Isaac Nada left, and now you finally have Andrew Thomas back on this team. There's going to be new wide receivers here. The Cal transfer is going to play better. And the only team to worry about in the East might be Florida. Do you go to South Carolina this year? No, you have them at home.
No, they come to Athens.
Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, good home schedule for Georgia this year.
Could slip up. Maybe Auburn. That's like the game I'd worry about.
Yeah, I mean, Kirby's 0 for 3 against the SEC West on the road, getting blown out by Ole Miss in 16, blown out by Auburn in 17, and beat by 20 points to LSU in 17. So no luck on the road against the SEC West, which is another reason I'm hoping the Barn can drop a few games early in the year, get that fire Gus Malzahn talk going, and hopefully by the time we go out there. I don't want it to be a situation like I don't want Auburn to be sitting on 2 losses when we have to play them. Then you're looking at an exact same scenario we were looking at in 17, where, Auburn's got 2 losses, but if they beat Georgia and Alabama at home, everything's still sort of on the line. I don't want to run into that situation again. I'd rather the Auburn fans be pissed off before that game even starts, already sitting on 3 or 4 losses.
That D-line with Coe and Davidson, or Derek
Or the D-line
Brown.
is legit. Yeah, the D-line, I would trade our D-line for theirs in a heartbeat without I wouldn't even have to think about it or consider it. Their D-line is
one
elite.
of the best D-lines in the entire country. And Lou, you saw SEC Media Days. I enjoyed watching it. I think that my favorite personality maybe at Media Days as a head coach, it's kind of a boring group without Steve Spurrier, but I would say maybe Chad Morris or even Dan Mullen even has an interesting kind of corny personality, for Media Days.
Yeah, the entertainment level is down right now in the SEC in terms of head coach press conferences. I mean, you got Nick Saban, who just hates every question that's ever been asked of him. Kirby Smart tries to imitate that. I don't think Kirby Smart is as big of an asshole as Nick Saban is. I think he just tries to be. I think it comes natural to Saban. I think Kirby has to try at it, and it sort of comes off that way to me.
Muschamp's mellowed out, too.
A little bit. Muschamp's entertainment value comes during the game. I mean, he turns, he looks like, his face looks like the Kool-Aid man. He gets so mad, the yelling and, the veins sticking out the side of his neck and all that. The entertainment value from him comes during the game. In terms of press conferences and things like that, I mean, obviously, you're not going to replace somebody like Steve Spurrier. Butch Jones obviously was very entertaining for 3 or 4 years with all his little sayings that he liked to make up with the brick by brick, 5-star hearts, life champions, all these kinds of things. You never knew what he was going to say, so that brought some entertainment. So, the entertainment value has taken a dip in the SEC, which is one of the reasons I really hope Tennessee would go after Mike Leach. Can you imagine Mike Leach in the SEC with how crazy the media is down here? Good Lord. They'd have Bigfoot search parties out every Saturday after the game, wouldn't they?
Oh, it would be absolutely fantastic. I mean, the Vol Navy there with Coach Leach would be phenomenal.
Oh,
Jeremy
great.
Pruitt spoke for like 25 minutes. He kind of has that like aristocratic Southern football coach about him, and oh man, who knows about Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee?
Tennessee's screwed either way with Jeremy Pruitt, ain't they? Either he's going to fall on his face and they'll be looking for a new coach again in 4 years, or if by some miracle he does good, he ain't sticking around there. He'll take the first job that opens up in the West, won't he? Yeah, he will. It's a stepping stone job, Tennessee is. I mean, it's sad that it's come to that, but that's just the reality. You hire somebody like Jeremy Pruitt. Listen, there's a reason he's at Tennessee. Nobody wanted the Tennessee job, and nobody wanted Jeremy Pruitt. It was a match made in heaven. Reminded me of South Carolina hiring Will Muschamp. Probably worked out about the same way, too. But so I really think Tennessee can't win here with the Jeremy Pruitt situation. I think if he gets to 10 or 11 wins and, God forbid, wins the East 1 year in the next 2 or 3 years and something opens up in the West, I think he would take it, or another conference even. And we already know what's going to happen if he goes 0-8 again, or 4-8, or 5-7 for multiple years in a row. Listen, if their non-con schedule is easy by most people's standards this year, 2 nobodies, and then they play BYU and UAB. They caught a big break because UAB. You remember they got rid of their program 2-3 years ago. They've only been back for 2 years. But last year they were like 11-3. But see, what happened is when their program was gone for those couple of years and then they started it back up, they had 2 choices: start all freshmen basically, or go to JUCO route. So that's what they did. So they signed like 20 JUCOs that first year, and most of them ended up being pretty good. But now they're all out of eligibility; they're gone. So UAB is basically starting over with a bunch of players who've never played before, and so Tennessee catches a break. Yeah, Tennessee catches a break because UAB is a legit program, and like I really think UAB could have beat Tennessee last year.
Really struggle in the non-con with the cupcakes.
Yeah, Yeah, so it's interesting to keep an eye on that because I think Tennessee can get to 7 wins this year. I mean, I think they could get to 8 if everything went right and they caught a couple of lucky breaks. But that rarely happens to any team in college football in any given year. Usually it's the other way around. Usually even really good teams lose at least one game they're not supposed to. I mean, last year you had 2 undefeated teams in the Natty game. That's not normal. Usually, Alabama drops a game somewhere. Oklahoma has lost games. Ohio State loses. Usually lose one game. So for Tennessee, if they happen to lose to either UAB or BYU, I think it could be another disappointing year where they're struggling to make they're lining up to play Vandy, where it's like you have to win to get to a bowl game type of thing. Like it was last year.
They can beat Kentucky this year. They get South Carolina at home. Mississippi State's breaking in a new quarterback. It's a big-time possibility that they can win some of these games.
I mean, they got to find a way to beat Mississippi State. South Carolina, I think, is beatable, but Tennessee has never beaten Will Muschamp, ever. Like 0-7. Couldn't beat him at Florida, never beat him at South Carolina. So we'll see on that one. Of course, Georgia, we got played in there.
It's going to be up and down and kind of flip-floppy.
Yeah. Now, Mizzou, check out Mizzou's schedule next time you ain't doing nothing. Mizzou could be 6-0, 7-0. Now, I'm not saying they're a national title contender or anything like that. It's just a product of the schedule. But if you look at their schedule, they play basically nobody for their first 6 or 7 games. I think.
Well, I still think
might be
Barry
Florida.
Odom might
First
be
tough
one of
game
the
they
first
have.
coaches to go.
Who?
Barry Odom.
Oh, where's he going?
No, I don't love like Missouri football and their direction. I mean, last year, Derek Dooley did a decent job. They should have beaten Kentucky, but they actually have some tough games early in the. I mean, Wyoming away with Craig Bowl, he had Carson Wentz and he had Josh Allen. Like that's not going to be an easy game in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Well, naming 2 good players they used to have doesn't really do much, but they'll win that game. It won't be a problem. But I guess you heard it here first: Wyoming versus Minnesota in the national title game sometime in the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, I appreciate your knowledge of all these underdeveloped teams, but man,
Lou,
we got to drag you kicking and screaming back into reality.
That call.
You're
going to remember me when I say the Minnesota Golden Gophers are going on the rise. You're going to remember that call, Lou. You're going to remember me, and you're going to call me.
The Minnesota going on the rise is 9-3 and winning the division, sir. That would be Minnesota on the rise. They're not going 12-1 with a Big Ten title and making the playoff. I mean, there's zero chance of that, none at all.
P.J. Fleck, you shouldn't doubt P.J. Fleck. He's a miracle worker.
I don't doubt P.J. Fleck's ability to take a team full of 3-stars and win 9 games. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt it at all.
Lou, thank you so much for the call, my friend. You're the best, and that 24-hour stream was just incredible,
Don't remind me. All right, I'm calling your dad, find out about this internet situation. Have a great day.
I want to keep my internet on, okay? Oh, man, Uncle Lou is one of the best callers in the world, one of the best YouTube channels. I love how he challenges me on points. He challenges the viewers and the callers, and I really enjoy that from him and Pigskin Pete talking college football. This number has been calling me a lot. I'm going to get to it in a second. Going to adjust some things in my house and get everything in order for the next call. Thank you so much for your patience. Welcome into Rover Sports.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing there? What's your name and what's going on?
Justin.
Oh, it's Justin. It's Yankee King, right?
Yeah.
Little Yankee King, a.k.a. the
Yep.
Big Teddy Bridgewater guy.
Yep. But
how you doing, man? What's up? What's on your mind?
I have an idea to make the Giants a dynasty, and I'm going to be looking at the chat while I say this, because it's going to piss some people off. And
are you going to light up that chat?
Yeah, I'm going to light up the chat. Your chat is about to get absolutely triggered. So the thing to make the Giants a dynasty, take your heart out of it. First thing you do at the deadline, first thing you do is not let Daniel Jones touch the field. As Pat Shurmur, you have to have that arm out to Daniel Jones and not let him touch the field one snap. I don't want to see Daniel Jones play one snap in the NFL in 2019. He's the 2020 quarterback. That's the first thing. You let Eli get his veteran presence on Daniel Jones, and then you let Eli walk away. Now, the thing to absolutely light up the chat. You trade Sterling Shepard and you trade Saquon Barkley, and you only trade them if you're getting, for Shepard, if I'm getting a first-round pick, and for Barkley, I want 2 firsts. Because you already got 3 first-round picks that can rebuild this organization.
What would you want with those picks? I mean, because Saquon Barkley, he could be the most valuable player in the NFL. What are you trying to achieve? Because with Saquon Barkley, with Daniel Jones, you're going to be competing for your Super Bowl championship. I don't see why keeping – Saquon's on a rookie deal as well. So it's not like Saquon Barkley. I actually think that the Cowboys should trade Ezekiel Elliott because Elliott is very unpredictable off the field. Running backs, you don't want to pay Zeke Elliott $19 million when you have a great wide receiver and a really good quarterback. But there's no reason to trade Saquon.
I wouldn't call Dak a
You're not
really
paying
good
Daniel
quarterback.
Jones soon. You're not salary cap strapped. The Giants are going to have so much money to spend, Justin. They're going to be able to get Clowney. They're going to be able to get whatever disgruntled guy they want.
Around free
trading
agency.
Barkley makes no sense because with the rookie quarterback, you need that awesome running back. I mean, what are you using that first-round pick for? A good quarterback? I mean, what are you using?
No,
those
you
picks
don't
for?
You don't take a quarterback. You take stuff with those picks to build this team because we have holes upon holes upon holes upon holes upon holes because Jerry Reese could not draft to save his life. And an NFL team is not built. You could get a Jadeveon Clowney in free agency. You could get J.J. Watt in free agency. You could get get anybody you want on a free agency. That is not how you build an NFL roster. You build it through the draft. We haven't been able to do that for the last 7 years.
Well, Justin, we're doing, but you have to admit Dave Gettleman is doing some of those steps though with Baker.
Yes,
with
Dave Gettleman
Lawrence,
is doing some of those steps.
Don't you think?
I like the way Dave Gettleman is thinking, but he's not doing it all the way. If you're going this route of rebuilding, then Saquon Barkley is the biggest trade chip you have.
Right.
You don't want to be the New York Mets of the
you're
NFL.
Expecting a 4-12 year with Eli Manning, and if the Giants are doing that poorly, Daniel Jones, you might as well get him experience in the second half of the season because look at Sam Darnold and Josh Allen. They got experience. Look at Trubisky under John Fox. John Fox was a nightmare as a head football coach, and Trubisky struggled under John Fox. Jared Goff sucked in his rookie year, but by the time their second year came around, it really benefited them. But I see Justin, this Giants team is going to win 9 or 10 games, 8 wins at the very least.
I highly doubt that.
This is not a shitty football team. This is a good team. This is a team that has a lot of potential to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years with Daniel Jones.
This team is not going to sniff 8 wins. If they do it, then I'll be shocked.
Then you're going to call in and apologize. I'll apologize to you if they only win 5 or 4 games.
Yes, I will call into this show and apologize straight up and say I'm wrong. I will be a man of my word, and literally the day they get the 4th win, or no, the 8th win of the season, I will call in and apologize that I am wrong, but I highly doubt that happens. Because you have freaking Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard.
What players are the weak players on this team? Why are they going to suck? What players suck on this team?
Wide receiver core, the right tackle position, the defense outside of the cornerback position. You have barely any depth around that position. Around those positions, you have no depth. It's Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, and then whatever the hell else we have.
Yeah, you have Slayton, though. He's a fifth-round pick. You have Corey Coleman. You have Fowler that can go up and catch a football. Evan Ingram and Red Ellison are weapons in the passing games. Barkley's a weapon in the passing game. Plus, this defensive line, this is going to be one of the best rushing defenses in the NFL. You have Ogletree, you have Dalvin Tomlinson, B.J. Hill, and Dexter Lawrence. You don't think B.J. Hill and Dexter Lawrence are going to stop the run?
I think they'll
They're
develop.
going to be great against the run. And then you mentioned how good the Giants are at covering people. I don't see the one position that the Giants are not very good at is their linebackers. They need Ryan Connolly to be good. They're not good at rushing the passer from the outside because Lorenzo Carter is nothing. I agree with you about Mike Remmers. He's a throwaway
No, I
player.
think Lorenzo Carter will be something.
Nobody wanted him. I agree. So go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I think Lorenzo Carter will be something, but with my idea, take your heart out. Yes, the Giants will take a freaking slaughtering. This will be Dave Gettleman taking a slaughtering from the fans. Dave Gettleman will have his head on a stick in New York. The fans will hate him. Bad Dog will rant. You'll rant. Chris will rant that you traded Sterling Shepard. You traded Barkley. But it's for the bigger picture of the Giants. You see that stadium behind you. You trade Barkley, you trade Shepard, you trade you try to get the first overall pick. Yes, Evan Ingram too. I almost forgot him. I like him, but you trade him. You see that stadium behind you.
Because then you keep delaying the build. You keep delaying and delaying and delaying. I disagree, man.
No, this isn't delaying the build.
If they go 4-12, I'll be very skeptical, and you will be correct, and then we have to see what happens.
You literally can have a chance to build this team, not for the next 2 years, not for that little 2-year window, not for a 4-year window that you have Barkley on it, and you have Shepard. You literally have a chance to be a dynasty for the next 10 years, for the next 5 to 10 years. You'll extend it from 5 to 10. We Giants fans have seen Super Bowls, and then the team went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see the team win a Super Bowl and then go straight back down to mediocrity again.
Well, let's ride Saquon out until the contract.
No, you don't do that. That is a terrible decision.
You're not going to find a better running back than him, and first-round picks are not a given in this league.
Yes, you will not.
But look at the Oakland.
Yes, you will not see.
But basically, the Oakland Raiders have done what you have said, and they're not going to be that great. Okay, they have a couple of players.
Because they fucked it up. They already fucked it up.
How did they screw it up?
They had it. They had the plan good. You had that plan so good, so well.
How did the Raiders F it up?
And then you spent the money and traded the draft pick. I'm like, what are you doing, Raiders? I don't care. That's what the Giants should be. I see that, and I'm like, that's what the Giants should be doing. Because literally, if you do that in the next 2 years, you have a dynasty started. Daniel Jones with that 2 years of experience. You have the rookies that you'll draft from those picks. And also trading the first overall pick. Your first overall pick. You trade that away for a team that needs a quarterback. You have that huge
I admire
amount
the
of picks.
ideas, but the Giants are going to be fine. The Giants are going to be pretty good. The Giants are in position to win a Super Bowl in the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, why take it for one and then go back down to mediocrity? That's what's going to happen. You win a Super Bowl, and then
you're going to have to pay Daniel Jones a whole bunch of money. So then you're going to be the Green Bay Packers.
Yes, when you have a team not full of free agents, and then you're completely in cap hell. Remember the last time we went to cap hell?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, cap hell. Signed Damian Tomlinson or Damian Harrison. I completely fucked that up. Signed Olivier Vernon. Signed Janoris Jenkins.
Yep.
Where did we go? Wild card, and then we got booted.
That's right. And that's why Gettleman is not doing that same strategy. But you're correct about that. That's a great point there.
And in 2020, there is so much money on the books.
There was nothing to look forward to, Justin.
Trust me, Giants fans. There will be stuff to look forward to. Life without Barkley will be fine. Life without Shepard will be fine. Because you'll have those draft picks. You'll start that young core that we haven't had since I don't remember the freaking last time we've had a good core. We're so far building it. We're basically putting freaking tape. We're basically putting Band-Aid over a gangrenous wound that's continuously bleeding.
I understand that.
A rebuild, Giants fans have to take their literal. You have to take your heart out of it. You love Saquon. Saquon is the sexy name. But what's the point of having Barkley?
Saquon is definitely going to help our
and
team.
Literally becoming the 90s Lions.
Eventually, you have to keep your great players, because then if you keep dumping them, you're gonna tank. You're gonna tank, and you know what I mean. You're gonna become the Sixers. And Barkley is, yes, he is part of the part of the solution.
I'd rather tank.
You need a great running back to win a Super Bowl. You look at Todd Gurley; he got the Rams to a Super Bowl. Adrian Peterson helped the Vikings get to playoff games.
And
so,
they also had talent around Gurley. Who the hell do we have around him? We have Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard. That's it.
And they're both cheap. And Golden Tate.
Golden Tate is a wash of what his former self is.
Kevin Zeitler, Spencer Pulley and Jalapeno, Will Hernandez and Nate Solder are all highly coveted linemen in this league.
Yes. Why have that and you still won't win shit? You ain't going to win nothing in the next couple of years.
Thank you for the call, Justin. I appreciated that phone call because it was a unique opinion. It actually took some guts to say to trade Saquon. I wouldn't do that at all, because eventually you have to start building a championship team. The Giants are close to building a Super Bowl championship team. If the Giants win a Super Bowl, we're going to have options for a very long time. You look at Daniel Jones, he's still going to be a young kid. Eli Manning, I do like Eli Manning starting the first 12 games of the year. There's no way that Daniel Jones, even if Jones performs well versus the second string, there's no way that Daniel Jones should be starting ahead of Eli Manning. That should not happen. Eli Manning's played here long enough. Eli Manning knows how to open up the season at the Cowboys. He deserves the opportunity to play this last season. And if the Giants are ever 2 games under 500, then you can send in Daniel Jones, and then Daniel Jones will be your quarterback. So if the Giants are ever out of playoff contention, or they start to suck and they start to go off the deep end, then you could put in Daniel Jones. This is absolutely Eli's last year, no matter what happens, because you can't waste 2 years with Daniel Jones. He's going to be playing next year. Eli Manning, he might go be a backup somewhere next year. He might go help develop a rookie quarterback, whether it's in Oakland, whether it's in Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians, if Jameis Winston flames out. It might be in Nashville, Tennessee, because his family, I think Peyton Manning lives in Nashville. So the Titans and that organization, if Mariota does not perform well and gets hurt, Eli can go to Tennessee. He can reunite and help Nick Foles in Jacksonville and be a backup there. But the point is, with the New York Giants, this is going to be Eli's last year, whether he wins a Super Bowl, however he does. This is his last year, so I pray for health for Eli going forward, and he is going to start, because I would not start Daniel Jones opening week. Hell no, even if Jones is a better thrower than Eli. Eli Manning knows this system better. He knows how to play the teams in this division. He didn't do that bad last year. 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 5 of the last 6 games, albeit they were versus bad competition. He put up 35 points in that Cowboys game. He played really well, played well against the Indianapolis Colts, exceptional against the 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And with that Eagles game, he gave the defense an opportunity to win that game. He gave the team an opportunity to certainly beat Atlanta. He threw for over 400 yards, I think, against Atlanta. Against Carolina, Eli Manning was a damn good player. So this team is really, really going to be fun to root for. There are so many gems that are going to turn up amongst this team. DeAndre Baker is going to be one of those guys. Sam Beal. You look at Julian Love, all the depth at the cornerback position, the safeties. I look at Bethea as a guy that I think he could be a damn solid safety. Safeties play deep into their career. You also have Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers is going to be a guy with a super high upside that James Bettcher is going to use in the box. He is a more athletic Landon Collins. He is definitely a dynamic football player, and James Bettcher is going to use him to the best of his ability. The linebacking core, if Connolly can emerge and help replace B.J. Goodson, you have Ogletree, Lorenzo Carter, and Connolly. And then maybe B.J. Goodson will play, but maybe the X-Man O'Shane will start some games for the Giants. The defensive line, B.J. Hill and Dexter should be on the field at the same time. This defense, I think, is going to be a good top 12 defense, at least in this NFL. So, if Eli doesn't win a lot of games, this schedule's easy. The Giants go play Dallas. They have Tampa Bay. They have Arizona. They have a last-place schedule. Let's look at the Giants' schedule, okay? They have Minnesota and Washington at home. Not a lot of playoff games to start off the year. The schedule in the NFL is determined by the first 8 games of your season. That is where the schedule in the NFL lays out, okay? If you have an easy first 9-10 games of the season, you're going to end up having a good season, okay? The Giants played the Jets. They played the Detroit Lions, not a playoff team, the Redskins, Buccaneers, Vikings. The Giants, they played the Dolphins, Green Bay Packers. It's a winnable schedule, and the schedule gets tough later in the season. So I want to thank you guys for calling in to the call-in show. I appreciated everybody voicing their opinions. I want to thank Uncle Lou and Pigskin Pete. I almost wish I could schedule them. It was so great that Uncle Lou and Pigskin saw this video, commented. I knew that the PJ Fleck headline would drag them into the conversation. Uncle Lou did say that Minnesota can go 9-3. I just want to see Minnesota make the college football playoff. I want to see them go undefeated in the next 2 years. I think that if not this year, next year, they are going to be poised to go into that college football playoff and win the Big Ten championship. I really do. And then you have Clemson and you have Alabama. So maybe Minnesota could be the next Michigan State. No one thought at East Lansing that Mark D'Antonio would be able to win all of those Big Ten championships. So you look at Minnesota. I love what PJ Fleck is building. This team will be able to run the football at will. They have a pretty easy schedule. Their defense is still going to be young, but in about 2 years, they're going to be in shape to win a national championship. They're going to be right on Washington's level in about a couple of years. I truly believe that, and I wanted to be the first one to say it because it's not cool after the fact. You know, if I said Patrick Mahomes was the best quarterback in the NFL, it wouldn't be cool. But I was telling you Mahomes was the best quarterback when he was throwing interceptions last year and when people thought that the Alex Smith trade was a bad idea. I was the one who said Patrick Mahomes then it was an interesting take. Now you're just regurgitating the fact that he's an MVP. Now it already happened. But PJ Fleck and Scott Frost, they're the next up-and-comers in college football. And I need to say that. I need to put that on record. Minnesota, Nebraska's an unbelievable team as well. Maybe both of them eventually can be like a Michigan and Ohio State where they can both be hovering around the playoffs. Minnesota gets Nebraska at home. Whoever wins that game will decide who's going to win the Big Ten West and who is going to be in the college football playoff from the Big Ten. I look at, will Josh Gaddis help out Shea Patterson? Who the heck knows? Will Jim Harbaugh yield to Josh Gaddis? Will he yield to the former Alabama and Penn State wide receiver coach? Will he yield to Josh Gaddis? And you know that if Gaddis has a big year in Ann Arbor, you know that Josh Gaddis is then going to bounce. But I doubt that Harbaugh is going to yield over the control to Gaddis. And Shea Patterson does well in the spread. He did well at a spread at IMG. He did well at a spread in Oxford, Mississippi. That's what Shea Patterson is all about. So that remains to be seen about Shea Patterson and Michigan's offense. Their defense should be okay, but they lose Winovich. They lose a couple of guys to the pros. They lose Devin Bush, who was a really good linebacker. So they lose a lot of their linebackers to the NFL. But it's going to be a hell of a year. So, boy, oh boy. Yeah, he was listening. I mean, Spencer Sanders is going to be a great I mean, you heard Mike Gundy say at Big 12 Media Days, Uncle Lou, that this is the most excited he's ever been to coach because he allowed discipline to get in the way of him coaching well. Jalen Hurts can't throw a football that well. Mississippi State should have beaten Alabama. Alabama got lucky that Jake Browning was in that playoff game. Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback at all. Spencer Rattler is going to be maybe the first overall pick in like 3 years. Spencer Rattler's out of Arizona, out of Pinnacle High School. He's unbelievable. But Spencer Sanders, the problem with him is that he might be a little too arrogant for the Oklahoma State job. But he's going to win that job. And if he could be a better teammate, Spencer Sanders is going to be a freak of nature. He's going to burst onto the scene. Justin Herbert, he's never put it together. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a big stat patter guy. And looking at Oregon last year, I got to look at their schedule again, but I think Oregon was terrible like at Arizona. I think Khalil Tate in Arizona might have beaten Oregon last year. I really think Oregon might have beat Arizona, though. Yeah. Well, you have to project, Uncle Lou. You have to project. I mean, if I said Tua is going to be the number one pick or Trevor Lawrence, that's common knowledge. But Spencer Rattler, hell yeah. Project and predict, Uncle Lou, and Pigskin Pete. So, absolutely. That's why it's a fun show. It could be completely wrong. I know Uncle Lou called Bruce, and anyway, it's been a blast. Thank you for calling in. That people actually call into the show. That means a lot. And thanks, guys, and I'm out. Thank you.